If the Bills don't score on 100% of their offensive possessions, they're not going to win the game today. We're missing 6 defensive starters, that's all I'm going to say. Anyway, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and welcome back to my Week 3 NFL Fantasy Start and Sits. Also, stick around at the end of this video to see my daily prize picks lineup if you guys want to win like I do. Anyway, seriously, for those who are new to these videos, every Sunday I like to just get up and go over my fantasy start and my fantasy sits. It's all my personal preference, so if I'm wrong and you went with what I did, I apologize, but I'm not claiming to be right. This is simply what I think. With that being said, we got a couple of quick plugs and we'll get into the video. So 1, head over to gfuel.com, use code WyattzWorld, save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products. And 2, if you're 18 years or older, head over to prizepicks.com where you can download the daily fantasy app and use code WyattzWorld to match up to $100 of your first deposit. Always play responsibly, and let's get into the video. Okay, so I'm not sure how we usually start these videos, but this week we're going to begin with my fantasy sits because I think it makes the most sense. All right, so first sit of the week, I would not play Carson Wentz. I like the guy. I think he's going to score points, but I think it's going to be a slow start. He's going to have some turnovers. He's flat out just playing a harsh defense in Philadelphia. After Carson Wentz, we've got Chase Edmonds, not because he's bad, but because he's just not being used to even flex him. Like, yeah, he catches the ball in PPR, but guys, he gets 4 rushing attempts a game. That's not enough. After Chase Edmonds, we got any Buffalo running back. Don't start them because they're not going to be running the ball. They're going to be throwing it. The game is going to either be close or Buffalo's going to be down the entire time. We're simply not going to run the ball. Next up, we got James Robinson. I would not probably start him or ETN today. They're playing the Chargers. You're going to have Bosa and Mack all over you, man. It's going to be miserable. Next up, keep an eye on this one, but if Jacoby Myers is playing for New England, do not start any other receiver there. It's just not worth it. And now we just got a couple of injuries and suspensions. So 1, do not play Chris Godwin. He's hurt. 2, do not play Mike Evans. He's suspended. 3, do not play Hunter Renfrow. He is out. Those ones I do know I'm right about because like they're literally ruled out for the game, so do not start them. Okay, and that was it for my fantasy sits, so now we're going to move on to my fantasy starts, meaning I would absolutely play these guys. Number 1, Dameon Pierce. He's due for a breakout game, and he's playing against Chicago, who has statistically the worst run defense in the league right now. Also, Houston doesn't have a game plan. I think it's going to be feed Dameon all day. After Dameon Pierce, we'll stay in that same game, but flip sides. David Montgomery. Absolutely start him. Murdered the Packers last week. 15 carries for like 120 yards. After those two, we've got both Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle. Kittle is healthy. Ayuk has Jimmy back. Jimmy utilizes all talents and receivers there. I think both of them are in line for a huge day. Plus, Kittle is just going to be hungry. All right, next up, if you need a quarterback, I would certainly grab Derek Carr this week. He's not a guy you want every week, but he can play matchups, and this week is a very good one in the Titans. All right, and my last fantasy start is actually going to be a defense and a questionable one, but it's the Falcons. They're ranked 5 or 6 in fantasy right now, and they're playing Seattle this week. And teams who play Seattle defensively in fantasy do okay. Even Denver put up some points, even though they got murdered in the actual game. And that is it for my fantasy starts. Now, before we get on to the prize pick lineups, I'm going to give you my fantasy maybe/flexes. Play them at your own risk. So starting off, we got Robert Woods. Looked like he was starting to get involved last week. I could see him getting involved this week, but I don't know. After Robert Woods, we've got Adam Thielen. I think this is a more promising one because Kevin O'Connell himself said they need to get him more involved, and they're playing Detroit at home. After Thielen, Jahan Dotson. Dude, he's good. He's going to get targets. I just don't know how many of them he's going to catch. After Jahan Dotson, we're going to move on to Christian Kirk. I don't know how he's going to do against the Chargers because I don't know how much time Trevor's going to have. Luckily for Christian Kirk, J.C. Jackson probably isn't playing. After Christian Kirk, we've got 2 running backs, Zeke and Miles Sanders. Zeke, I just don't know, man. It's starting to look like Cooper Rush might be using Pollard more for the short game. So who the hell knows when Zeke is actually going to check in? And Miles Sanders, I like this year. However, Philly has a quarterback who can run in a committee with 7 other running backs. When they get to the 1-yard line, who knows who's going to get that carry? Also, lastly, if you need a tight end, I would consider starting Hayden Hurst because I think Joe Burrow's going to give him some extra looks and Sauce Gardner will be all over Jamar. But again, start at your own risks. Anyway, now we can move on to our daily prize pick lineup. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here we are back at prizepicks.com. For those who are new to it, I just like to always show it because it is so cool. They literally have everything that you guys want. And they all have these different categories, you know, goal saves, goals allowed, goals, shots on target. So again, if you're interested, use my code to match up to $100 of your first deposit and just try it out. Anyway, moving on to my daily entry that I think is going to be a success. We have Josh Allen throwing more than 280.5 yards. I just mentioned, dude, that's going to be a close game. They're going to be throwing the entire time. Next up, I got Tua throwing more than 262.5 yards. Again, like I just mentioned, he's playing against a secondary in shambles with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. After that, I got Joe Flacco throwing the ball more than 36 times because on average, he's been throwing it like fucking 50. And lastly, I got Kirk Cousins throwing less than an interception because they're at home. Kirk on a noon game at home is basically Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. He doesn't make mistakes. I think this one's about as good as gold, but I always seem to miss by one, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But again, play at your own risk. Alright guys, and that is going to be all for my week 3 fantasy start and sits. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you already know what to do to show support. Comment, like, subscribe, turn that bell on. I do my best to post on this channel every single day. With everything I just said though, I'm going to get this edited so we can all get on with our NFL Sundays. Good luck to your teams, good luck to your fantasy teams, and I will see you guys tomorrow.